Your grocery bill just jumped 30%. Your favorite electronics now unaffordable. American businesses are laying off thousands. What's happening to America in 2026? The answer will shock you. Donald Trump's tariff war isn't just a policy, it's reshaping your wallet right now. This is the hidden tax you're paying every single day, and most Americans have no idea what's really going on. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how much money you're losing. Let's start simple. What exactly are tariffs? Think of them as hidden taxes, but instead of the government taxing you directly, they tax the products before they reach your shopping cart. Here's how it works. When a company imports goods from China, Mexico, or Canada, the US government now charges them an extra 25% to 127% on top of the original price. And guess who pays that extra cost? You do. The importer passes it straight to consumers. President Trump claims these tariffs will bring jobs back and make America rich. But 1 year into his second term, the data tells a very different story. According to the Tax Foundation, Trump's 2026 tariffs represent the largest tax increase since 1993, raising $171 billion in federal revenue. That's $1,300 more per household in 2026 compared to 2025. But wait, if the government is collecting all this money, why are you getting poorer? Let me show you. Walk into any grocery store in America today and you'll see it with your own eyes. Prices that were already high, they're skyrocketing.
As we have shrimp, and right now we can either get it from Ecuador, we could get it from.
Listen to this grocery store CEO explaining the reality. We held the line as long as we could, but when your suppliers charge you 30% more, you have two choices: raise prices or go bankrupt. We chose survival. The New York Times reported this week that after Trump announced sweeping global tariffs in April 2025, prices began climbing faster than at any point in the previous 3 years. Inflation, which had been cooling down, reversed direction. Morningstar economists predict U.S. inflation will hit 2.7% in 2026, directly because of tariffs. The Peterson Institute warns it could exceed 4% by year's end. That's double what the Federal Reserve wants. But groceries are just the beginning. The real devastation, it's happening in American factories. January 2026 just set a devastating record. U.S. employers announced 108,435 job cuts, the highest January total since the 2009 financial crisis. That's a 118% increase from last year.
Is more of a function of newness coming in and replacing some of the older items that we can no longer manufacture because of the higher tariffs.
Listen to this small business owner. We manufacture kitchen tools in America, but we import raw materials from China. Tariffs added $80,000 to our costs overnight. We had two options: fire people or close the business. We fired people. These are my friends, and we're still bleeding. Here's what Trump promised. Tariffs will bring manufacturing jobs roaring back to America. Here's what actually happened. The U.S. lost 72,000 manufacturing jobs in 2025. Many fled to Canada and Europe to avoid tariff chaos. The Wharton Business School calculated that Trump's tariffs will reduce long-run GDP by 6% and wages by 5%. For a middle-income household, that's a $22,000 lifetime loss. But who's actually winning from all this? Trump says tariffs are making America rich. Let's check the receipts. Between January 2025 and November 2025, Trump's tariffs raised $168.8 billion in revenue. Over the next 10 years, they're projected to collect $2.8 trillion. Sounds great, right? But here's the catch. That money goes to the federal government, not to you. And the cost to get that money, it's destroying the economy. Trump promised tariff dividend checks of $2,000 for American families by mid-2026. It's February 2026. Have you received yours? Neither has anyone else. Meanwhile, American consumers are paying an extra $1,300 to $1,700 in 2026 compared to what they would have paid without tariffs. That's a real tax coming out of your paycheck to buy the same products you bought last year. But it gets worse. China just reported a record $1 trillion trade surplus despite Trump's tariffs, meaning the tariffs failed to reduce Chinese exports. They just made Americans pay more for them. Watch Trump explain his tariff strategy. This is real, unedited footage. But America isn't suffering alone. Trump's tariff war triggered a global economic earthquake, and they're not taking it quietly. Countries are fighting back. Canada considering retaliatory tariffs, EU weighing 10% tariffs on U.S. exports over Greenland dispute, China slapped tariffs on American agricultural products, bankrupting farmers. Mexico approved up to 50% counter tariffs. The Economist magazine just published this headline: Has America hit peak tariff? Their conclusion: Trump's trade war is creating an economic mirage. Short-term GDP gains are fake, propped up by businesses panic buying inventory before tariffs hit harder. Goldman Sachs projects that if tariffs stay at current levels, core inflation will rise by 1% through late 2026. The Federal Reserve may be forced to raise interest rates, making mortgages, car loans, and credit cards more expensive. Economic expert Caroline Aldwin states, anyone making under $250,000 is feeling the brunt of these tariffs. The wealthy, they're fine. The middle class, they're drowning. So what do the world's top economists think? Let me show you the consensus. JP Morgan Research: tariffs will reduce U.S. growth and increase inflation. This is the worst of both worlds. Yale Budget Lab: tariffs raised $2.8 trillion but reduced GDP by 0.5%. Net effect, economic loss. Stanford Sieper: current tariff regime will raise inflation by 1% and slow growth. American families will pay the price. Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco: the 15% increase in average U.S. tariff rate in 2025 was the largest in the modern era. Historical data shows this always hurts consumers. Even Wall Street, which typically supports Republican policies, is worried. The dollar is falling. International investors are pulling money out of U.S. markets. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was grilled in Congress this week, unable to defend the economic data. The truth is undeniable. Trump's tariffs are inflation. Anyone saying otherwise is lying. Okay, enough economics. Let's make this personal. What does all this mean for your life in 2026? If you're a family of 4, groceries: 600-year extra electronics, phone, laptop; 400-year extra clothing; 250-year extra car parts maintenance; 350-year extra total extra cost; 1/600-year. If you work in manufacturing, your job is at higher risk than any time since 2009. 32% of companies report considering layoffs due to tariff costs. If you're a small business owner, your input costs are UP. Your customers have less money, you're caught in the middle. But here's what makes me angry. Trump is trying to rewrite reality. He claims tariffs created an economic miracle. Let me fact check that for you. Claim: tariffs brought jobs back. Fact: U.S. lost 72,000 manufacturing jobs in 2025. Claim: tariffs defeated inflation. Fact: inflation rose from 2.3% to 2.6% in late 2025, reversing the downward trend. Claim: foreign countries pay the tariffs. Fact: American consumers and businesses pay 100% of tariff costs. The only people celebrating? Lobbyists and special interests who got tariff exemptions. Everyone else is paying. So what's coming in the rest of 2026? Let me give you the roadmap, and it's not pretty. More companies announce layoffs. Prices continue rising as businesses pass costs to consumers. Federal Reserve debates raising interest rates. RBC economists predict tariff pass-through will peak, inflation could hit 4%. Midterm election campaigns focus on economic pain. Trump may double down or start rolling back tariffs. Potential recession if consumer spending collapses. Global trade system faces restructuring, the scariest part. We're only at the beginning of this crisis. Companies have been absorbing costs for months, but they can't anymore. Axios reports that 2026 will be the year businesses finally pass all tariff costs to consumers. Yale's Budget Lab warns the full economic impact won't be visible until mid-2026. What we're seeing now is just the preview. And if you think Trump will back down, think again. He just announced new tariffs on 8 European countries over the Greenland dispute. This is escalating, not de-escalating. But here's what bothers me most. This isn't really about economics anymore. It's about honesty. Trump campaigned on bringing down prices. Prices went up. He promised jobs, jobs, jobs. Jobs were lost. He said tariffs are paid by China. They're paid by you. The American people deserve the truth, not spin, not propaganda, the truth. This Wall Street Journal investigation found that after tariffs rose to the highest levels in centuries, American workers got poorer, not richer. I want to be clear. I'm not here to tell you what to think politically. I'm here to show you the data. Whether you support Trump or not, you deserve to know what's happening to your money. And the data is screaming one message. These tariffs are failing to achieve their stated goals while causing real pain to real people. So what can you do about it? 1. Stay informed. Don't just accept what politicians say. Check the data. 2. Protect your wallet. Buy non-perishables before prices rise further. Consider switching to domestic alternatives where possible. Budget for 10-15% higher costs in 2026. 3. Make your voice heard. Midterm elections are coming. Your vote is your power. Use it. 4. Share this video. Most Americans have no idea this is happening. Share this with someone who needs to see it. Look, I know this was heavy, but knowledge is power. You now understand more about Trump's tariff war than 95% of Americans. The question is, what will you do with that knowledge? If this video opened your eyes, hit that like button. Subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that actually matter, and drop a comment. Tell me, have tariffs affected your wallet? I want to hear your story. This is the reality of 2026. No filter, no bias, just facts. Thanks for watching. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and I'll see you in the next one.